Good morning. How are you guys today? I have to tell you, on Friday, I was exhausted. And I couldn't even remember the expression partial seam. Kind of tells you where my head was at. So I like to go back and see, to rewatch these to see if I've missed something or if I've said something wrong. Boy, these are dirty. And I can't even bear to go watch it. So we're all in this together, okay? So today I want to talk about sewing the quilt top together. And I'm a little bit concerned in as much as I feel like we're really rushing through this. And maybe some of you need more time to make more baskets and this and that. So let me tell you what my plan is, all right? Just kind of stretch it a little bit. Is today we'll talk about partial seams and sewing this together. On Wednesday, I want to talk about when you don't have a lot of fabric, and I probably had a little bit more than you, how can you piece this together so that the discerning eye doesn't see that it's pieced together? And I'll also do a recap on pinwheels. Then on Friday, I'm going to do I have a little thing called Pressing Matters. And I know I've been droning on and on about pressing, but I'd like to have it in one concise place. And this is mainly to give you guys time to sew and sew and sew. And I consider our time so valuable together. I don't want to just say, hey, I'll see you in a week, okay? Let me just show you a little fun stuff. So last night was yesterday was Lennox's 6th birthday. It goes so fast, but everybody warned me that. And we went over there for a pizza party. And my daughter is doing something really fun now. Jerry, her husband's, one of his best friends, they are a Hispanic couple married, and they celebrate Day of the Dead. And I always thought of Day of the Dead as November 1st, and perhaps this is this is just my perception. What do I know? Okay. And there where you might go and have, a picnic at the grave of grandma and stuff like that. But what Adair is doing, and she learned this from Abby and V, is they make a shrine. So Adair has never done this before, and it actually took my breath away. So let me show you what she is doing. So she, of all the grandparents of everybody who's passed, she would ask for pictures of those people, or she'd get them. And she's basically made a little altar. So yes, I think Saturday they were going to Abby and V's to make sugar skulls. And I was thinking it was sugar skull cookies. And I said, well, I want one. Well, those are the sugar skulls to the far left-hand side. And then with each person, she put something that they loved the most. So Mima, that's John's mom. Boy, she was a beauty. Pecan pie. Her pop is gone, John's dad, and so he loved Dr. Pepper. Now that brings me to my dad. The next picture, he was a Scotch drinker, and so I have a bottle of Scotch of his that we haven't touched. His Scotch and water, and there he is right below making a pie at Adair's. And so she poured a glass of Scotch for him, and then the jar to the left is poppy seed because he loves poppy seed cake. And so it went down the road, and I absolutely love this because I know when they keep up this tradition, when I'm no longer with us, it's a moment to not forget who we are and who we came from. So that I just adore. Speaking of that, my mom is not on that altar yet, fortunately. And what I wanted to show you is a really cool thing that her neighbor made her. She likes to touch things. John actually had a pretty good conversation with her yesterday, but that red thing in her lap, and I know some of you are going through this, and this is why I'm putting it in. It's like that fleecy fabric that you can get just about anywhere, probably more Joann's than like at a quilt shop. And then Kathleen went and tied ribbons around the outside edge in various colors. And Kathleen was so good to me, and is so good to me. And she lived across the street from them, and she was the nurse. And Kathleen just got a dog. And my mom is holding a picture of Kathleen and the dog. And what I do when I give her pictures like this is I laminate them. My friend told me, Joanne Sharp, to buy a laminator. And I thought, that is so stupid. I can't stand it. And I bought it. It was 20 bucks on Amazon. And I bought the laminating stuff. I love my laminator. In fact, it's kind of like people who have the P-Touch labeler. I just love my laminator. So let's take a look at the quilt, all right? I'll start with the one on the right. Is something that, I am working on. And I started it in a Rosalie Dace class. I can't get this right here. And I didn't like, it was too stark. So I called Sujata Shah, which her show aired about a month ago. And I said, what do I do? And she said, add more little sticks. And the show, she did them with squares, and they were called ticklies. And that's what they call them in India. If you haven't seen that show, it was magnificent. It also was at we went to Freddie Moran's house. This week's show, we are going to talk about, it's Tara, and she is in my mini group, and then Diana McClem. We did a field piece on her. And Diana is one of my original mentors. I mean, I go back 40 years with Diana, at least. So I was very pleased that we could get that. Don't miss this show. Tara talked about color in a very different way that I had not even considered. Okay, so I check it out. If you're not a member, take advantage of the 1995 COVID. When are we going to talk about borders? I'm going to get into borders next week. I'm going to give you time to get this thing sewn together. So I've done my border. I just didn't put it up because I was being a smarty pants brat. I'm not showing you yet. Okay, but before we do that, I want to show you some quilts that you're putting up in the forum. It's very exciting. And the first one, okay, I got this computer. I'm working around my sewing machine here. This is Marcy's. And Marcy's having a blast making these baskets. And what I'm assuming is going on here is that you made the pink ones, and then you said, I want to make something out of batiks. And so you threw, I think those are batiks. You threw that basket together with the batiks. And I do love the half square triangle edge. It is my guess, Marcy, that you're trying to decide which direction to go, and or you want to integrate the batiks into it. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with eggshells. In my mind, those are two different quilts happening, okay? But if you have something else in mind, I have said things, and I'm saying this so carefully because if you've got a vision, man, I want to see it. But if you're trying to decide one or the other, they're both winners. Oh, the other thing is when you guys are working with batiks, it's really hard to get light batiks. They're just not available. And let's go back to Marcy's. She has that really great light batik in the background of that basket. So if you're gonna work in batiks down the road, just when you go to shows, when you're online right now, if you see lights, just get them because you're gonna need them when you're doing that. So Marcy, I'm staying tuned on this one to see what you're gonna be doing. Okay, this is Fairchild's, and she said, I'm assuming it's a she, I'm sorry, that this is more orderly. That's fine. You do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy, you do, okay? And I love those peaches. I don't have a lot of that color. In fact, if you go across the bottom and come up the middle, one block or the second one up, that's the color of the orange mat of the Slidey So Steadies that we have in stock right now. Okay, I don't know your name. You can see up here on the upper left, I left your avatar there, but I love working in hot colors. I think they're so much fun. And the other thing that I think that is super cool is that you took your cutting mat board, probably a lot of us have these stashed away, and you're using it also as your design wall. Yay, that's smart. Very good. So that is cool. Okay, here's Jean. Jean, I couldn't flip it. I wanted to show this because it's on its side where the string of lights are across the top, and it's a small image. But if we flip it clockwise, one shot, is that the Eiffel Tower in the center? I don't know. I don't know, but this is really fun and interesting. Then this is Anjay, smashing. And I think of baskets as being very feminine, and this is, it works, and it's very masculine, and it's very graphic. And I shouldn't say masculine, but I mean, it is not what I would have thought of. And either you or somebody else showed a basket originally that was out of blacks and whites, and it's beautiful. Now, the other thing, guys, is look at how upper left, upper right, bottom right, she's thrown in a goldish color. I think it's called ochre, or just a burnt back, like brown, or I don't know, but it's beautiful, and it adds something to it. Just be careful and don't use it too much, because I think that the black and white is fabulous, and then I think this is the wonderful surprise. And remember, when you use it, keep it kind of across the whole surface, which you are. The center one might even have it in the center of that basket. I'm looking. Let me see. Let me blow it up a little bit. Right. Let me see. But I guess my point is that I'm seeing that my eye is traveling over the whole surface, and that is really good. Okra, yeah. Okay, so you guys are busy, and I love what you're doing. I love that you're sharing. I believe in the forum there's something at the top. If you go to the baskets, or not even the baskets, just get to the forum on how to post on there. That's Barbara Black's jam. It's not mine. Okay, so let's take a look at this quilt behind me. There. Again, I'm not going to gun. Oh yeah, I want to show you one other thing. Sorry. I want to show you this. I bought this at Alden Lane. It was $12.99. I've bought 3 actually. One's for a birthday gift, one was for a thank you gift. And let me tell you how they made it. It is so simple. And I know that succulents are super in style right now. I was watching them make it, and they had all these clipping of succulents. This one still has the knobbin on it, and all they were doing was glue gunning it down. That's it. And then what I'm doing to keep it moist through Thanksgiving is I will just go spray it with a sprayer. And then when it finally poops out, you can take this off and go plant it. I'll probably plant it in a pot or something, and then I'll have a whole new succulent garden. So for those of you that are into succulents, I mean, this is just fabulous. I wanted to show that last week and I forgot. And then I'm going to talk about moving. Don't let me forget about moving when we get done. I want to get back into quilting because that's what we're here for. So I've called this the Basket Puzzle Quilt because you are putting together a puzzle, all right? And what I've done here is I've took masking tape. You know, I'm going to bring this a little bit closer. Wonder if this will fit on top of my sewing machine. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's better. I took masking tape and taped off how I put this thing together. So for instance, Mary Ellen Hopkins called it working in neighborhoods. And when you're working with multiple size blocks, you're working in neighborhoods, okay? And so again, I'm working at 2 inches. I'm working in 4 inches with the pinwheel, 2 inches with these little strips here. Okay. Also flying geese, which, or some flying geese. Not flying geese, I mean half square triangles. Those are 2. And then we've got the 4-inch pinwheels. And then we have the 8-inch block. Okay, so we have this 8-inch block, and we have the 2 right here, the 2 4-inch, 4 plus 4 is 8, and you get it sewn in neighborhoods. And then you sew it all together. Now what happened in this one, and doggone it, it happens every single time to me, maybe you'll avoid it, but I ended up in here with a continuous seam. Because a partial seam, see I'm doing it again, a partial seam, and that can be a brat to do. So I'm going to show you how to do a partial seam. The rest of it went together pretty much like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, okay? But let's talk about partial seams. When you have to, they're not a Y seam. Somebody asked that the other day. No, a Y seam is very different. And let me move this back. All right, so little camera, where are you? So here is a partial seam that I'm going to do. Interestingly enough, this fabric here, this center strip here, if you cut it at 2.5 inches, it lands just like this. So this is a nice spacer if you want to use it in lieu of other things. And honestly, I didn't think of that, somebody else did. But here is a real good illustration of a partial seam and the trouble you can get into. Because you can't just sew this together like a 4-patch. It's just not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start about here. And I'm just marking this so you can see. And you don't have to watch me sew. I'm going to line up. In fact, you're not going to watch me sew. I'm going to line this up here. Okay. But I'm going to start there and leave this flopping open. Okay, and it's a random number. Just give yourself enough that you can, like, don't do right down there. That's just too tight. Okay, so I'm gonna start about there. What would you say that is? Well, I'll tell you what it is. About 2 inches. Okay, so about 2 inches. I'm just gonna sew my 1/4 inch seam. Oh, that took off like a horse race. And of course my thread broke. Lovely. Okay, so I wonder why that broke. Let me go back on me. Okay. Oh, I know why it broke. It's caught in my computer. Oh, the perils of live. You know, it only took me about 30 years to figure out this needle threader, but now I do. I love it. That's not true. I haven't had the machine that long. I love the 3 needle threader on my machine. So let me show you this mess I have here. Let me go back and sew that again. Yeah, if you set your computer, gather it up, on your thread, it's not going to feed evenly. That's a tip for today. All right, so let me just sew this again. You know, in the world of fine sewing machines, oh gosh, now I got to turn it off and on. I know what I'm going to talk about. Well, this thing turns back on. We are going to be moving like November 2nd. And we have a 3-ring circus going on because we're also going to be launching a new website very soon. And I know that you have been hearing about that forever. And if you think you're tired of it, so are we. And at some point I'm going to interview John and he'll tell you what's in it for you, why you care that we're moving to a new website. We're trying to make it much more user-friendly. But there's flexibility I'm going to need from you guys. I'm going to try and keep doing this every day, or not Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But the next project that we're going to do, we have to be able to ship out some stuff to you. So it's kind of like, we just have to be generous and kind to your host here while we go through the whole mishmash. There we go. Oh, isn't that nice when the thread's not all caught up, how it sews so beautifully? Let me go back to this camera. All right. It is gathered a little bit because that's from that other mishmash. I'm not going to pick it out. So you can see here that I have left that open. All right. Now I'm going to go press. Get my little pumpkin out of the way. It is so cute. My succulents aren't in good enough shape to do that. But maybe next year they will be. All right. So now I've got this straight edge that I can sew onto right there. It's okay that that's a little big. I'll trim that off, all right? In fact, I realize now how I cut it. It's all going to have to be trimmed a little bit. But this one, I can sew the whole way. The whole way. We're going to be taping some more shows in Livermore in early January, and we secured an absolutely fabulous Airbnb that is truly like an estate, and the camera people and stuff can stay there. And it was so funny because my gardener Fabrizio came over and said, or was over here Friday. He goes, I manage that place. He said, I'm in charge of that place as far as the grounds and all that. And I said, well, is the house wonderful? Because there's several houses on this property. And he goes, the main house? And I go, yeah. And he goes, so I'm really excited. All right. So now I'm going to press again right here. And I'm just pressing the way it wants to go. All right. And then I'm going to line up this one. Yeah, I overcut these, I realized. Line up this guy. And it's easy when I'm showing it on a small piece like this. When you're working on the big quilt, you're having to kind of wrestle an alligator. So I forgot to tell the rest of the story of moving and being flexible and all that. So Mary Kay, who works with us, I told her what I was going to say, and she said, oh my gosh, she said when she and her husband bought their first house, they pulled up with their stuff, their car, and the people hadn't moved out yet. So you never know. Okay, I'm going to go press that. We get to go see the place today. I'm very excited. Very excited. All right. There's a Starbucks around the corner, there's a brewery around the corner, and there's a winery around the corner. Yeah. So then I'm going to line this up here, right down here. I'm going to sew that. All right. There we go. I hope you guys all had a good weekend. I did. I did a lot of couch potatoing, and that's okay, right? Are we allowed to do that? Yes, we are. Okay, so then I'm going to go iron that. All right. And then, okay, so this is what we have here. I kind of have to go and unpress that a little bit. Right there. So I don't sew it, it'll tuck it in it. Okay. I am liking this iron, by the way. All right. So I put that there. And then I'm just going to go sew, and I'm going to go down to where the other stitches were. It's about that simple. I'm starting a new class with my grandkids, and it's Joanne Sharp's. It's for kids that are like 3rd grade is perfect, and that's Lev, and we're going to do an art class together. I sent them their little books to color in. Okay, and then they've got a bunch of art supplies. And I'm very excited. Okay, so here, let me show you this. This wants to go this way, but it can't because you can't have this going on behind the scenes, all right? Is that basically how you add squares into the corner of the borders? No. I'll tell you how you do that in a minute. I mean, you can, but it's a lot of work. A lot of work to do it that way. Okay, so even this I'm not happy with. Again, on Friday when I do Pressing Matters, there's just so many little minutiae that you need to know. All right, there you go. Okay, let's pretend like we had little squares in the border. Let's pretend this is the big quilt. And this is a corner, this is a corner, this is a corner, and this is a corner. What I would do is okay, here we go here. I would sew on the side flaps, all right? And then I would take the little square and sew it onto the bottom and the top and then just sew it straight across. So you could use, I think one time in a border I did use continuous seam, and it was because I ran out of fabric. So that's why I did it. It was a way to conserve on fabric, but it's a cool little thing to have. Oh, thank you, Carol, that I did Friday on Friday. It's a cool little trick to have in your back pocket if you get yourself into trouble. So I do love continuous seam. So the quilt store is moving. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, it's not a real store. Well, it's a store, but it's not a storefront. We are moving. I've been running around with a huge desk in the back of my car for a couple weeks. I'm hoping to unload that. The place I'm really impressed with because they're repainting it. Half of it is warehouse, and then half of it are offices. And basically, we're going to have I should take pictures and show you guys. Why don't I do that? I'll see what kind of condition it's in today. But we were actually looking to move last year, but really couldn't find a place, and things were too iffy and tentative that we never had the fit. Well, this was the third place we looked at, and it was the fit because one of the things it has is the warehouse has air conditioning that's separate from the building, and you guys know how hot it gets here these days. So we're very excited about it. The people that we're renting it from are recarpeting the office parts, repainting the thing. I called my lawyer, our family lawyer, who happens to rent from these people. They come with a sterling reputation. So I'm really excited. And I'm so sad to be leaving Alden Lane. We're all so sad because we love this place so much. But like they said, hey, but at least it's for goodness. And I thought, yeah, that's true. And Alden Lane is still a mile from my house. So it's like a bad fly. Or I say it's like a pimple on prom night. It keeps coming back. That happened to me. Okay, would love to see pictures. Okay, shop. Basket handle measurement for the 4-inch basket. Oh. I don't know because I haven't done it, but I would cut it 1 inch wide. Okay, and then what did we say the 6-inch one was? How long was the 6-inch one? I would just do it that length. Oh, 1 by 6 inch, and you'll have extra. But yeah, now, okay, let me tell you what's going to happen when you do a 4-inch basket. This is tight, and it's going to get ripply. Don't freak out. It's no big deal. Okay, you will be able to press it out, but it's going to pooch out just a little bit. So don't be alarmed when that happens. I would love to see 4-inch baskets. The smallest I've done has been 4.5, which of course would not fit into this. Okay, let's see. Size of border in relationship to size of quilt. I think I did mine 6-inch wide. The main thing you're going to have to consider is, yeah, I can't remember how wide I did mine. If you're not, what you're going to start doing, and I'll kind of give it away a little bit on Friday, is you've got to work in increments that are going to mathematically go together with this quilt, okay? I have chosen not to put an inner border in mine. If you do that, then you've got to take that math into consideration. John thinks mine is super busy. I happen to love it because I happen to love super busy quilts right now when they lean towards traditional. So I would say just you're going to have to make some blocks, do some mock-ups, and just put it up and see what you think balances it fine, what holds its own, okay? Let's see. Sewing large basket, can I use half square triangle papers? So, sure. Our next project is going to be using half square triangle papers. My concern with using half square triangle papers for like the basket behind me, the one that my head is touching, is that when you get into half square triangle papers, it's not as scrappy. And because these, and our next quilt is going to be down, fast, and dirty, all right? And it's going to be for the holidays, or if you don't want to do that, you can do something else. But I thought that's where we're going to explore those papers. They're not as scrappy, all right? And we're getting some of those papers in the store. I'm very excited to work with them. And this is going to be a crank it out, wow them, just put your nose to the grindstone. The other project that John wants us to do, and this is where it's getting into iffy of how this is all going to play out, is our avatars. If you don't know what avatars are, it's when you come up, say, in the forum and you have a fake head, and or you can put your real face. And he said, wouldn't that be fun to spend a week making faces that we could use as avatars? And I've done a couple face things and I love them. They're so much fun. So that's going to get in there somewhere too. So I'm trying to, again, we just have to be kind to the host of this because I'm really trying to figure out how to get everything balanced and in line. And like Mary Kay, you know, if we drive up and the people are still there, then I don't know what's going to happen. But we're in this together and we're having a blast, so who cares? What are the half square you'll have to wait and see. I would suggest on what are the half square triangle papers? You have to wait and see. Let me finish the sentence. On this, I would just do it regular so they can be super scrappy. That's my preference. So let's see. Do we have any other questions here? Any other questions? I'll just give it a few seconds here. I think this might be the first Halloween where it's actually going to be warm and the poor kids, you know? Yeah. So should we do the avatar faces before we get into the next one? I'm kind of thinking that's a really good idea. And I've got to figure out how to teach it because the first one I did was with the late Yvonne Porcella. And then I've taken one from Jamie Fingal and we've had shows on it. And I did one of my daughter and myself. So my first one was very imaginary. Like Freddie Moran's, and hers are faces. Exactly. And I can't, I've only done a couple, so it's going to be kind of the blind leading the blind on this, but they're so much fun. They are so much fun. What you're going to need for that, okay, let's do that. Well, yeah. What you're going to need for that is some sort of fusible because they are raw edge, all right? And I would use our Apple Stick or our Apple Web Plus. Okay. All right. So this is what we're doing. I want you guys. This iron. I have two irons. I have the Liso that I have over on my table over here. And then this is something, mine finally pooped out, so I got a new one. It's a Panasonic, and I think we have a couple in the store. The reason I like this, the wireless here, is because if I'm doing stuff on my design wall, which our holiday project will be, it's both Hanukkah again and Christmas, I will put up the Apple Stick and get everything arranged the way I want it. And then with this, I can come over here and go like this and press it down. So that's why I like this one here. I use them both. My girlfriend wanted to know if she should buy this, and I said her iron is right by her design wall, and the cord will reach it. And I said, no, you don't need this. But for me, I need this because I want an iron over there and I want an iron here. All right. So, okay, you guys. I know I love the color too, Pauline. It was so funny. I thought we had two colors coming in, and I needed one because mine broke. You saw that happen on air, and they said, well, which one do you want? And I said, well, I want the prettiest one. Well, it turns out they're all this color. So there's a pretty one for everybody. So, okay, yeah, we're having an Indian summer here too. It's unbelievable. It's going to be 90 today. The good news is it doesn't get quite as hot because the nights are longer and can cool everything down. Okay, I'm blathering on too much. We'll see you Wednesday, and I'll show you again how to piece together fabric if you're running out and want to put things together. I'm going to do specifically this strip right here. And then I'll do a pinwheel if you want, because I know we've got some new folks here, and pinwheels are so much fun, and it's a good space filler. So, okay, you guys, have a great day. And don't forget about this if you need like we're going anywhere for Thanksgiving. If you need a hostess gift for yourself. Oh, thank you. That's what I got myself. So, take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.